Before the summer of the screaming town hall, before death panels and fake grassroots anti-health reform bus tours, outrage in the country, before all of that, was fueling the movement for health reform. That outrage was aimed at the insurance industry for jacking up rates and denying people coverage and dropping sick people from their rolls. Prepare to return to that quaint time, because thanks to a report out today from the advocacy group Healthcare for America Now, we have just learned that the 5 largest for-profit insurers in this country made a combined $12.2 billion last year. For those of you keeping track at home, that is a 56% increase from 2008, a new profit record, set, of course, in the middle of the worst economic decline since the Great Depression. They accomplished this record feat, at least in part, by covering 2.7 million fewer people through private insurance than they did before. It's as if someone has pushed the reset button on the politics of health reform. Once again, the country finds itself in a forced confrontation with the reason that health reform is so needed. And again, like we're back to, I guess, last summer again, the right has responded to the threat that health reform poses to the status quo by propounding the theory that health reform is really a secret plot to kill people. In this case, they say it's a secret plot to kill ex-presidents.
Medical rationing. It's a big concern under the Democrats' proposed health reform. Would President Clinton have been denied his heart stent procedure under their plan?
President Bill Clinton is now home, and after undergoing emergency surgery yesterday, the president's had 2 stents placed in his coronary artery. Amazing. So if the Democrats' health care reform had gone through, would President Clinton have received the stents?
Does President Clinton, or you or I who needs it, get the stent under that new regimen of health care effectiveness?
Welcome to the new health reform debate, same as the old health reform debate. Only instead of health reform being a secret plot to kill old people, or a secret plot to kill veterans, or a secret plot to kill Republicans, now health reform is a secret plot to kill Bill Clinton. That's the story on the right. The story everywhere else is about insurance companies like Anthem Blue Cross, the largest insurer in the most populous state in the country, California, hiking its rates 39% right now, just because they can, even though their parent company is making billions in profit. Joining us now is Ezra Klein, staff writer at The Washington Post. Ezra, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Good evening, Rachel.
Last time we were at this point in the politics of health reform, I think was roughly the end of last summer. Urgency for reform created by the horrible economics and horrible flaws of the current system. Opposition to reform created by weird conspiracy theories about secret plots to kill people. After this happened the last time, the Democrats, I think, wasted the rest of the year trying to get Republicans to vote for reform. Do you think that they're making the same mistake again?
Well, I think they're going to waste less time, at least. I mean, we got the summit on February 25th, and the White House released a very large guest list today, which was large enough to make me think nothing's really going to get done there. But after that, they know it's pretty much put up or shut up time, right? Once you've had your summit, you have to take your vote. And today, the most encouraging thing I've seen yet happened. You had Republicans demanding the Democrats not make a secret deal to pass health care reform until the summit, which suggested that they think Democrats might be able to make a deal still to pass health care reform. So hopefully they'll be able to make it right after the summit and figure this out.
Ezra, we keep hearing that Democrats are looking at reconciliation, that they're working on it, that it's hard to do. I feel like you get the policy ins and outs of this better than anybody else who I talk to about this subject. How long would it take Democrats really, if they wanted to pass health reform, if they really got their act together, how long would it take them?
24 hours. Literally 24 hours, Rachel. So reconciliation, which is the second most boring word in the English language, is actually not even necessary. The Senate bill, you could argue it's better or worse than the House bill. You actually could just pass it on its own, though. You wouldn't need to reconcile it. The House could take it up tomorrow, pass it, and Barack Obama could sign it by nightfall. That is how long this could take. And it gets to a really important point about this. It isn't about the Republicans right now. It isn't about Anthem Blue Cross, though they're quite villainous. It is about the Democrats. They have the bills. They have passed the bills. They have a president ready to sign them. If they decide this is important enough to do, they can do it. And if they don't, they can't blame anybody else. They had it in their hands and they let go. It is their fault.
Ezra, I am struck by the fact that insurance companies are reporting record profits, astonishing profits, and at the same time, millions of fewer customers. What's going on with those two things happening at once?
Well, they're raising prices. I mean, so my mother is, in fact, on the Anthem Blue Cross plan out in California, and her premium went up from $790 to $1,094 per month for one person. And so here's the plan there, right? What they're doing is closing out a plan that has older, sicker people in it. And what happens to these people when they go out onto the individual market is that folks look at them, they say, you got a pre-existing condition, you weren't profitable for Anthem, you won't be profitable for us, and they can't get insurance. This is literally what healthcare reform is there to stop from happening. You wouldn't be able to discriminate against people with these conditions. You wouldn't be able to participate in the exchange if you did these sort of 40% rate hikes. They would kick you right out. And yet, the thing we seem to think is more relevant than this, than the Anthem Blue Cross situation, which is happening to actual human beings, is Scott Brown, who beat a Red Sox-hating candidate who wouldn't shake a voter's hand in Massachusetts. It's really rather appalling.
Would the bills, to be clear, the bills that have passed the House and the Senate, or even just say the Senate bill, would they stop this Anthem Blue Cross rate hike from happening?
They would probably stop it at 2 or 3 different levels. Number one, you couldn't do pre-existing conditions. So this is a high-risk plan at Anthem. It is priced up. It's an expensive plan. Remember, it was $794 before this. It's priced up because these people are somewhat older, but more to the point, they're somewhat sicker. There are a lot of pre-existing conditions in this pool. That's number one. Number two, in the exchange, where they would have to be, you cannot do a rate increase like this unless you can justify it to the people running the exchange. And if they don't think it is in their customers' best interests, they kick you out. And what happens when they kick you out is you don't have any customers anymore. So you don't do this sort of thing. Healthcare reform is what gives you power over the healthcare insurers. And it is the only thing that can stop these sort of shenanigans from happening in the future.
Ezra Klein, staff writer for The Washington Post, thanks very much for joining us tonight. It makes me all the more angry to find out that it's your mom, so please give her our best.
Me too. Thank you.
All right, thanks.